Wow. Have we got a show today?
We do. I'm so excited about today. We have two great entrepreneurial spirits, both of whom believe in giving back to the community. I could not be more excited. I think you have to be the one to talk about Ralph.
All right. So Ralph C. Stayer, is it Stayer or Steyer? I'm going to have to ask him. I've been saying Stayer my whole life. So Ralph C. Stayer runs Johnsonville Brats. It was a company founded by his dad, and it's a family business, a private business. It's been around forever. But there's a whole bunch of changes that came when Ralph came to run Johnsonville, and they were all around leadership. It was just an epiphany. Wait a minute. I don't have to be the boss. I can help, encourage leaders. So we're so much to talk about. He wrote a great book called Flight of the Buffalo that Harvard and all kinds of other people teach. It's an amazing story. So we have the Sausage King, and I have a belly full of Johnsonville, the fresh breakfast sausages this morning with some eggs. It was delicious. And then you found
Collette Divitto. So I was watching a video with my kids, as so often happens on YouTube, where they go through a bunch of different inspirational and funny bits from the internet. And there was this inspirational story of a woman who applied for jobs and then kept getting told, "You're not a good fit. You're not a good fit. You're not a good fit." Well, she has Down syndrome, and she kept hearing, "You're not a good fit for these jobs." And she went and started her own business because she's an excellent baker. So she started her own cookie company, and now she employs people with disabilities. She's got a nonprofit that has training programs to help people in the disability community to go out and get jobs themselves, start their own businesses. It's just amazing. So I saw that story with my kids and I said, I'm going to go get her for the show. And she was so wonderful to come on. So I'm so excited. And my kids are so impressed.
two big business makers on one smallish show. What's not to love about today?
Hi, everyone. Tim Kitzrow from NBA Jam and NFL Blitz, welcoming you to The Backpack Show. Your hosts, Chris Brogan, Kerry Gorgone, Boom Shakalaka.
Backpack Show.
Hello, Michelle.
Good to see everybody flowing in. Hey, Deanna.
Johnsonville Brats, you got them. Your favorite, says Deanna.
I can't wait to tell the Johnsonville story to Ralph. He'll laugh about it.
He's really going to laugh about it. I was hoping you had
Angus
like an old clip from one of your original shows.
I'm too lazy to go look for clips like that. I don't know.
So
Ralph Stayer, if we keep calling him the guy who runs Johnsonville and all that sort of a thing, but he's also this incredible leadership presence, and he's gone around and taught a lot of leadership. And he also has a little bit of news that if that girl had just held on 10 more minutes, we could have had a nice, interesting story right live. So we're going to bring him right on, and I'm going to start with my very first question. Is it Stayer or Steyer, Ralph? I'm so sorry.
It's Stayer, S-T-A.
Good. Then I did it right.
You did it right and then wrong and then right again.
You have news that just happened right before we went live on the air.
My daughter had a granddaughter.
Woohoo!
And for anybody who doesn't realize the significance, Ralph,
explain. I have 9 grandsons, and we had one granddaughter there, but we've had 9 grandsons and 1 granddaughter. Now we have 2 granddaughters.
They've doubled. You've doubled.
Yeah, we have double the population. We have a way to. I'm encouraging them all to keep trying.
I can't help you. I have 2 boys, so sorry. I only know one way.
It's hard to imagine a time before people could really embrace and understand something like a bratwurst. It's hard to imagine that not being an American classic, but that's what you did at Johnsonville. People did it now, and it's been a bit of a moment to bring it out. Interesting to think that you're kind of doing that again you've brought out your Italian sausage as well, and you've said we've got something to say over here as well. It's interesting that there's always still some innovation to be had in a protein product.
Oh, yeah. Well, 2 things. First of all, my sister helped expand the company across the country. She did the sales, a lot of new markets, and she kept getting asked, "What's a brat? We don't have brats. We don't sell brats here." And she'd say, "Hey, you didn't used to sell pizza either. Just try it. See what you think. We're going to sell these." We just came out with a new product called sausage strips.
Oh,
they look like bacon, but they're better. They taste better. They cook better. They don't shrink like bacon. They don't spatter when you cook them. They're already cooked, so you just have to brown them. We have flavors: chorizo, spicy, maple, all the things you can't do with a bacon. and they're going through the roof. I mean, it's amazing. So there's lots of room for innovation.
Sounds like, Chris, you've got to get some of those.
I'm already on it. I'm already looking. I was in my grocery store window now, looking to see if I could order those now.
You're out on the East Coast; they're not there yet.
Okay,
but they'll be there. They'll be there this year.
I know somebody in Wisconsin I can call for this.
Ralph, I have a question.
Talk to Stephanie. I'm sure she'll fix you up.
I read that while you were going to Notre Dame, they offered you a scholarship or fellowship in physics. Is that right? And you said
for graduate.
No thanks.
Yes, at University of Michigan.
I'm going to go work with my dad.
I got to go make sausage. The physics professor. That was the last day. It was my senior year, the last day of school, and I just kind of got my grade. And he said, "I've arranged this fellowship for you I'm arranging this fellowship for you at the University of Michigan." I said, "I'm going to go make sausage with my dad." He said, he looked at me like I had 4 eyes. He just couldn't believe it. What? A sausage? Well,
now, I have a million leadership questions for you, but I need to ask one more question about the Big Taste Grill. Whose idea was that, and how fun is that to roll out something that can make, 700 brats at a time?
Oh, yeah, we can make 700 brats at a time easily. It was called GMR. It's actually Gary and Michael Reynolds. It's a marketing company in Milwaukee, and we wanted to promote something for our 50th anniversary of the company. That was like 26 years ago. And so we 25 years ago, and they came back with this oil tanker that where they cut it in half and the lid came up, and we had to put a grill in there, and now we have 3 of them, and they do promotions, but they mostly do disaster relief. When there's a hurricane or a earthquake or whatever, we send it out, and it feeds the relief workers.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Tornadoes. It's an amazing thing. And it's the beautiful thing about Johnsonville. Nobody asked me. There's a huge tornado in Joplin, Missouri. That one in Joplin, Missouri, and all of a sudden, our grill was there, feeding the relief workers, and well, they just went. They knew they needed help, and they just went.
And they didn't have to ask you.
The principle. We have values, but the roots of that tree, it's a value tree. The roots of that tree are grounded in love your neighbor. And
so what? No better way to do that than to feed them during a bad time.
Exactly.
Ralph, this is a great moment to transition to the fact that you put out a book. You wrote a book called Flight of the Buffalo with James Belasco. And this book, when you go and you read about it on the internet, and it's a great read. And like I said, Harvard has a big summary of it and teaches it as well. And there's a lot of schools that teach it. This talks about a really important strategy that I'm sure you've given this talk 8 trillion times, but not to these nice folks. Can you talk just a little bit about what the theory was that you found out about the difference between buffaloes and some birds?
Oh, well, the buffalo, I was so frustrated because everybody way back when, because everybody was still stood around, people made mistakes, people didn't seem to care in our company, and I was really frustrated. Are we still on?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Something happened. And
More grandkids right now, right? Just the one right now.
New one coming in.
Okay. If
I read this,
let us know.
And I read James Michener's novel about a centennial, and it's about the buffalo. And buffalo hunters used to, they killed all the buffalo. They were almost extinct. There were millions and millions of them. Anyway, so they would find that if they came up on from a long distance away, 300, 400, 500 yards away, they saw a herd of buffalo. They would pick out the head buffalo, and they would shoot it. If they could drop it right in his tracks, the rest of the herd would mill around, and they could literally walk up and shoot all of them. And the the buffalo would just mill around waiting for orders that never came, and you could kill them. And Indians, I mean, the Native Americans hunted buffalo too. They would just simply drive the head buffalo off a cliff, and all the rest followed. And all the way down, you could hear him saying, "Yep, he did it again. He really screwed up. Here we are."
Wow.
And so, and that's what I had. That's what I had at Johnsonville, and I realized it. But what I really wanted was a flock of geese, or via geese, where every goose takes its turn leading. They all know where they're going. They all have the same purpose. They're all committed. They all share the load because because it's hard work up there in the front of the flock, breaking the wind in a different sense than for the rest of the rest of the geese are drafting on them, so they keep taking turns. So anyway, and I realized that was the problem, that I had created that. That people were looking to me. People, everyone looks to the boss for the answer and for indications of what success looks like. Everyone wants to succeed. And I had started the business. I made every decision, but we only had 7 people. That's how you start a business. But if you don't change and adjust, you can keep getting what you always got. And I had to rethink my whole role as a leader, my whole role as a human being, and as an owner, as to what did I really want. And what I really wanted was intelligent people who are really committed to the goal to go out and create, to take responsibility for their own lives and for the company. And
Ralph, I'm curious how that worked. I'm curious how you go.
Oh no, Ralph might have frozen.
We lost the Ralph again.
Well, maybe he's having another grandkid.
Maybe another grandkid's coming in. So I'm gonna stick Ralph backstage for a second and accept my
Get him sorted.
Yeah, till we work on that.
That's quite a realization for a leader to have, though. I just want to point that out because I've been in plenty of organizations where they would not have admitted that was the problem, even if that was in fact the problem. You see what I mean?
Yep. There we go. He's back in. There we go.
Yeah. So Ralph, I was just saying a lot of leaders wouldn't necessarily acknowledge that they were the problem in that situation. So how was that realization for you?
Well, and I spent a lot of time consulting after I got well known for this. Besides running Johnsonville, if you understand how I run Johnsonville, I have a lot of people, and my job is to help them. My dream for Johnsonville has always been that I go away fishing for 6 months. And it's better when I get back than it was when I left. And so going out consulting was a great way to test that theory, for me to go out and work with other people and learn, because to teach is to learn twice, and then see what happened back home, and it was good. But the people I consulted with, they were, some were good. Some people really were willing to admit that they had a lot to learn, and some people weren't. And those people that weren't, I couldn't help.
You definitely need the right kind of people. How did you recruit the right kind of people to give you that leadership style you were looking for?
I have to tell you that almost everybody, when I started changing, first of all, they didn't believe it. They kept waiting for me to go back to be the old Ralph, because I had tried 17 other, recipes of the month. But when they finally realized, this guy is serious, almost everybody stepped up and did it. Almost everybody stepped up and did it. They didn't know they wanted to be responsible for their own lives, but when they started doing it, wow, this is a better life. And there were very few people that didn't make the change. Very few. The biggest percentage that left were the ones who were leading the company, because they couldn't adjust. And a lot of that was probably my fault too, because I didn't know how to teach them yet. I was just starting and all that, and and they had been so used to having me make the decisions, they just couldn't make the decisions on their own.
So that whole concept of the servant leader, for instance, Robert Greenleaf's book, that whole idea of having to teach leaders that you now have to understand that every single person in here has part of this role. This is the whole geese thing. We're all going to lift each other's wings up. Like you said, it's the people at the top who had the challenge. And like you said, part of it's because it's how you formed it. I'm curious to know, was there ever a stumbling moment where you almost made this flavor 17 out of the other ones? Did you ever say, oh, I've done a terrible thing here, I'm going to go back? Or did it just work its way forward?
Well, how many times? How many stories do you want?
All of them.
Well, it all gets back to the same thing. So I'm out consulting, and the three people that I said had been leading roles in the company said, we need help. I mean, not help, but we have to have some leadership. So they elected the director of sales and marketing to be the president. Fine, okay, good. And but this guy was busy taking us. I heard later, but they said, what's your role? My role is to tell Rolf what he wants to hear and then do what has to get done.
Oh boy.
And so one of the people quit. One of the people who had been very instrumental helping me build the whole thing left. He said, I'm not having any fun anymore. And so I started looking at it, and I started talking to his president, and I said, I'm just going to get a little. I had a 2-year a contract with the guy. He wanted a contract when he became president, blah blah, for 2 years. And he said, I'm just going to get a little bit more involved here to make sure we're doing what we need to be doing and help you. If you do that, you're activating my contract. Then I said, consider it activated. You're out, just like that.
Wow.
And then I went and started meeting with people and found that it had slid right back. I mean, this guy was taking it back. And the hardest part of trying to help people be responsible and having people make decisions, and the whole concept is, at any level, that person has more information than you have about that job, and they should be in charge of that job. Nobody else. On the shop floor, and the sales guy, lady, whatever, they should all be in charge of their own job. They should be responsible for their own, the quality and the quantity of their own work. And so, but it keeps wanting to move up. It keeps wanting to move up. There's just this, because that's how the world works. You look at the military, it doesn't work like that. You look at your parents are telling you what to do, because when you're a kid, they have to. But when you're an adult, they're supposed to back off. Some do. Some
Are they? I got to make a call.
Call your mom. Call your mom. Exactly. So this is insidious. And it just happens because people in a leadership role feel this incredible. The reason they're leaders is because they have a lot of drive and they're smart and they feel it, and they feel an incredible amount of responsibility. So they're going to step in and fix it instead of saying, what are you going to do here? What are you really trying to accomplish? In the best of all worlds, what do you want to have happen? What does superlative performance look like for you in your area? What can we do so you can achieve it? Instead of asking those kinds of questions, just, oh my gosh, we got to solve this problem.
Sure.
And so it keeps trying to slip back. It happened again, and when I'm not the CEO anymore, I'm retired, except I still own it. So
Right.
There's that piece about ownership. I'm still involved. I feel like I'm in a mafia. I'm never going to get out.
The sausage mafia.
And so here we go again. So I just had a year and a half ago, I had to go back in, and we have great people, but I didn't do a good enough job. I'm still a problem because I didn't really set it up. I didn't give enough examples. We didn't give enough for structure. We didn't do all the things we needed to do to make sure this thing could go along without me. The good news is the good Lord let me live long enough and had me get out so that you could see the problems. And now everybody sees the problems. And we have an organization with 3,000 people in it who absolutely understand what we're trying to do. And we've created a playbook and all the materials I think that are necessary so that it won't happen again.
And it's big future ahead too. I mean, you've got the sausage strips, you've got a lot more time for fishing. You have a new grandchild to get ready to visit at some point at a distance. So a lot on the plate there, Ralph C. Stayer. Yeah. I'm so glad you took a minute to stop by and talk with us. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. If you can stick around, do so. We might have a little bit of panel at the very end. If you can't, that's okay. We love you either way.
Well, you just let me know. I'll busy myself with something else while I'm hanging on. But
stick around.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. And it is the best sausage in the world, by the way. So
it really is. So I'm going to tell a story before we do ads. Somewhere around March or April, I had my little grocery store. I have a little grocery store. It's like a mom and pop that did not have Johnsonville products in it except for the breakfast sausage, the fresh breakfast sausage. So that's a great sausage, but it sure isn't those cheddar stuffed brats. So when those things came, I bought them and I ate all of them in one day, which you're not supposed to do. Ralph doesn't eat that many sausage in a day and he runs the place. I ate the whole package across the whole day's meals.
What are you doing?
You know what I was doing? I was so happy. And so on my little show, I started joking about the fact that I am trying really hard to get sponsored by Johnsonville. And then I started making jokes about it. And so Stephanie Lugopolsky sees this on Twitter and all that and goes, give me your address. I'm going to send you something. And so she sends me like 4 shirts that I wore all summer and a little postcard that I held up a bunch of times when I pretended that we were sponsored by Johnsonville. Well, I'm going to announce today with Ralph here, we're now sponsored by Johnsonville. He's like, what? I've got to go back and fix my company again. But they gave us a little bag of money because what we're going to do is we're going to go out and buy a whole bunch of sausages and we're going to distribute them to all you nice folk. And you're going to make little videos of you eating your Johnsonville sausage for nothing more than my pleasure on this show. Just to say, look, Johnsonville sausage, and eat some. It's so good. And now I'm going to beg Stephanie to ship up just one little package of those strips to here. Because, you know, those little fresh sausages rolled right off my plate today when I was trying to make a sandwich out of them. And if I had the strips, nothing like that would happen.
That's right.
This is the best. All right, let's get sponsors. And we're going to get Collette in here. Divitto. Is it Divitto?
We'll find out.
We'll find out. All right, let's do some ads. So we are also sponsored. Not only are we sponsored by Johnsonville, I don't even have the card made, but I'm so excited.
Oh, you've only had months and months to make it.
Shush! It's a dream come true. Not only are we sponsored by Johnsonville, we're sponsored by StreamYard. So if you want, you can make a show just like this one. cbrogan.me/StreamYard.
Own Sausage King.
Get your own sausage.
Your own Cookie Queen.
Authors, like a person who wrote an amazing book called Flight of the Buffalo, you need a website to promote your book, and you don't want to bother making a website. Ugh, that's a lot of work. We're sponsored by PubSite, pub-site.com. Make your own book. It's super fast, super easy, nothing to it.
Make your own site. You have to do the book. That's a given.
You write the dumb book.
It's really easy to make your own site, but if you decide that you'd really rather not, they can build your site for you with all the pieces you already need, all in there. For just $499, they'll build your site. But if you want to do it yourself, literally, you just have to like drag and drop and pick some options and stuff. It's super easy. It's just $19.99 a month. But you can try it first. 14
days, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a long time. They're also a sponsor of the person of the day, just so you know. So you can get a nice shiny apple just like that to go with your sausage.
Love person of the day. Sausage instead of an apple for person of the day. Do you ever have sausages and apples like together? It's really good.
I have a story about that. I was talking to Chef Robert from Disney Parks, and he fed some pigs. We were eating pork at the table. He had fed these pigs. Well, the farmer had fed these pigs apples and walnuts for 2 weeks before their slaughter. So these pigs had eaten nothing but apples and walnuts for 2 weeks. The meat was infused with apples and walnuts.
I know, but that's awful. Think about how excited those pigs were. Like this is
their last few days on Earth were not eating meal. That's for sure. They had a great old day.
Stop it.
Well,
let's talk about cookies.
Let's talk about cookies. I was thrilled to eat them, and I would have eaten them again. We're gonna grab Collette, and we're gonna start with Collette. Is it Divitto or Divitto?
It is actually the Divitto.
Divitto?
No, sorry, it's DIVI. 2 T's and 1 R.
Perfect. We got it. So you run Collette's Cookies.
Yes. Now, were you always a baker, like from forever, or was that something you discovered later?
Well, actually, I always loved to bake since I was 4 years old.
Wow. How did stuff turn out for you at 4 years old? Because mine was a little hit or miss at that point.
I made such a big mess. I make such a crazy. I made such a big mess, and to make a sugar cookies. I was covered of my hands and my shirt and my face covered of flour.
Wow.
And to make a cookie dough to make sugar cookies. That's why I love to bake. But
Is that your favorite kind of cookie, Collette? Is it sugar? Because you're famous for a different kind of cookie.
one of my favorite cookie I love to make. It is actually called, yes, that is it. That is actually, so that is my favorite cookie. It's called a missing cookie. That is actually called talkative cinnamon. I just roll the dough in my cinnamon and sugar. I can't say that because
That looks so good.
because it is secret
Oh, trade secret.
ingredients. That's what I can say.
Trade secret.
Everyone. So it is secret, but actually, that is my number one favorite cookie is to make. Everyone loves them.
That's the kind I ordered. I was like, have to try those.
Yes.
Yeah. So why start a cookie company? Why start any kind of company?
Well, actually, so since no one. So since I actually moved to Boston, I moved to Boston since three years ago. I am actually from Whitfield, Connecticut. I moved from there away to here at Boston. I was trying to find a full-time paying jobs is to work in these big companies.
Mhm.
But because I spent hours there because I spent hours there is a discussion of the positions of their jobs is to work in the office. But because I spent hours there, I just had a cup of coffee with the CEO, and then from there, next hour, from next hour, yes. But next hour later, I got an email, always saying the same thing, saying about it was great to meet you in person. but at this time, you are not a good fit.
Not a good fit.
Me, yes, exactly, because of me, who have a disabilities. That is exactly how they feel of me. I feel sad. I was targeted for jobs. I got rejections so many times. And that's why I decided to open my own cookie company. I make all different types of cookies. I actually do have I now have 15 employees, and also I do have two interns, and also I do have a non-profit that is called 501c3. I have been doing is to teaching classes. I go to high schools is to teach I have been teaching students where at the classrooms is to show them of my PowerPoint every steps I have been taking of my own cookie company. That class is actually called how to become as an entrepreneur.
That's what I love, though. You didn't just start the cookie company and do for yourself. You then hired other people with disabilities and then started a nonprofit to help other members of the disability community get work. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't go that far. They would solve their problem and not look any further. That's what I think you and Ralph have in common is you want to do more. You want to help others.
I do, yes. We actually right now, but actually I just had a Zoom call with these people. Actually, I only did had a Zoom call with these people. Is to look at my paper with me of my steps I have been taking. I just show them I have been doing it with now at my like here, like at a commercial kitchen.
Love it. Love it.
So one question or one thing I was thinking about the whole time is that there are people who won't start a business because they're afraid, and there are people who won't start a business because they can't see themselves being as brave and as confident as you are. And what do you do to help those people understand that they could absolutely do it too, because you figured it all out?
So what is the question?
So what do you tell people who are looking to start a business themselves? How do you encourage them?
I have so many advice. I would say for people who really want to start their own business, I would say do not focus on their disabilities. All they need to do is to focus on their abilities. And also I also how to say is don't let people beat you down on yourself, and also and this and also do not Oh gosh, what the other one? Oh yeah, do not give up on the dreams and the careers. And this one last thing I want to say about them how to start their own companies is to love. No, I would say about enjoy of their job. Who really love to work hard.
Work hard as well. Yeah. I want to show just one last thing, and then we're going to grab Ralph back to ask him a couple questions with you. So we'll have a little panel. I was looking at your in the news page on your website, collettys.com. And usually when you look at these, there's not a lot there. There's like, 2 or 3 news reports and maybe some magazine talk to you. So Epic Global News says you're, CEO with Down syndrome thrives. I like that they put, Downs in the headline instead of anything to do with just how awesome you are. But, you get there. Colette's smile story goes on Lay's. She ends up on the back of Lay's potato chips, which that looks like salt and vinegar, which is my favorite. So there you go. Your TD Garden announces your cookies. I scroll down a little. So there's the Celtics. I scroll down a little. There's cookies with the Red Sox. You're all over the place. You are like a media sensation. This doesn't end. Like you just keep scrolling. There's more of you.
I know.
Can you believe it? You're like a big star. How'd that happen?
I honestly don't know how I have been said to my mom and to my family all the time, but I love doing not just here at my kitchen. I love to do is doing a speaking event. Is to show a lot of people to feel inspired by them of their own kids as like sons and daughters with a special needs or just disabilities or just Down syndrome. I make them feel happy.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be happy when your cookies arrive. I ordered them. I ordered the amazing cookie.
Kerry already ordered, so.
Oh yeah, and I do have a good news. Are you ready of this? I actually do have my own TV show now.
Yes, that's so good.
Awesome. And so right now, they are actually talking to the teams. Is to go over every episodes of me and of me and my cookie company. Because right now, when it is only 10 episodes right now.
Wow.
They are actually going to put it on TV. That is going to be on A&E and on Hulu and on Netflix. So
I love it. Well. Good, because I was like gonna have to get Hulu, but now I can watch on Netflix, and I'm going
watch on Netflix.
I'm gonna.
Collette, do you know when that goes live? Collette, do you know when that one goes live?
I didn't know. I would say not till in February.
February.
Okay.
I'll look at that. We'll watch.
It's a TV series. So
cool. I will look for it. Well, we know we can check Collettys.com because it'll definitely be there somewhere, like on your news page or something.
We're gonna bring Ralph back.
I'm sorry, but I do have.
Oh, go ahead.
One more thing. I actually do ship my cookies all over United States, and also at Canada too. But yeah, I ship all
You
over.
ship all over all of US and Canada too.
Yes, I do.
Ooh, good to
So
know.
our Canadians who are watching right now, get
We
yourself.
have a Canadian.
I started with the amazing cookie because I felt like that was like your flagship, and I had to start somewhere, and I couldn't eat more than 12 cookies probably like at once. But then I'm going to go back for the peanut butter, I think. So if you could rank them in order for me later, that would be great. Just like text me your list.
Yes, I have it now.
I'm
Great.
going to grab Ralph back on. And hello, sir.
Wow. Two big announcements on today's episode.
Big announcements, a grandchild and a TV show.
Oh, and sausage strips.
And sausage strips.
Three.
So jazzy about that. I'm already getting text messages about the sausage strips from one viewer, saying they can't wait to see what that's like. So
Right. Less than 5 minutes, they're done.
Oh, how perfect is that?
Less than 5, just turn them on, medium heat, bang, bang.
Can you puree them into baby food? Because I feel like you've got to get these kids on board early.
I think we should come out with it, but it also makes a great SLT.
Oh,
you have all different flavors in there. It's incredible.
Everybody knows that Johnsonville's world famous for their ads, so I could see the SLT ad coming out now. But all right, I'm going to do the person of the day first, and then I'm going to ask you both one question, which is the backpack question. I'm giving it to Alan Jackson from 6 Month Jump. Whoop, whoop.
Hey, Alan Jackson. Just
because, Alan's been kind of hiding out and I don't get to see him as often as I ever want to. So you're the person of the day.
Person of the day gets you an apple just like that one, but you have to buy it yourself and then wash it before you eat it.
So, and I forgot to use our cool new thing.
Oh, and here's our person of the day. Kaboom!
Yeah, I totally forgot to play that. I just played it. All right. Listen, one last thing is the backpack show question, which is the real question for both of you. Simple answer a lot of times, but you can make it as metaphorical or physical as you want. And there we go. Here's the question. What goes in your backpack? So the world is changing all the time. We can't put together all of the things right now because it's always so crazy. But you can add one item to the backpack that everyone should take with them for the next 5 years. It could be something physical, like an avocado, or it could be something like a metaphorical thing. Kerry, what are some of your favorites?
Sense of humor, fearlessness, pride, all those things.
Okay, so I'm going to start with Collette Divitto. What goes in the backpack?
I would say in the backpack, I would say happiness, yes. And positive attitude. And also I would say have lots of encouragement. And also being confident.
I like it. Of course, you had to add a few things because it's a recipe.
No, that is not it. No.
You're a baker, so you have to do a recipe. Ralph Stayer, what goes in your backpack?
Well, I don't think my granddaughter would let me do it, so I can't put my daughter will let me do it, but so I can't put my brand new granddaughter in my backpack. I'm tempted. I'm sure my wife would do it for sure. But I think
the Sausage King is stealing babies at the hospital.
I think the most important thing, especially in these times of COVID and all this other stuff going on in the world, I think my faith in my Lord Jesus Christ is what I would have in my backpack at all times.
Always good to have on hand for sure, and definitely useful in these times.
I can't believe you didn't go there, Chris. You got to have faith.
I know I didn't sing a song.
You got to have faith.
You do. All right. Well, I have to tell you that if I were going to think about delicious cookies and sausage, then my grandmother would probably add a margarita to the backpack. But it's really, good margarita sometimes can be a good thing. And you know where she'd probably want to have that? Like where to set out this perfect little feast?